Next.
मनीषा मॅम अँड मधुरा मॅम, वी आर लाईव्ह नाऊ. आपण लाईव्ह सुरू झालो आहे यूट्यूबला. सो यू कॅन स्टार्ट युअर सेशन, मनीषा मॅम. थँक्यू.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, all the students and listeners. I'm Manisha Singh from Kirti College. I'm going to take your chemistry lecture today. So, last time I have started the topic Basic Principles of Organic Chemistry. Today I'm going to continue that chapter only. So, because it is lots of time has passed, so I will take the revision of the previous lecture and then I will go for the next part of this chapter. So, next slide. So, first we have seen the introduction part of the organic compounds, and we have seen the uses of that. Next slide, please. Then we have seen the structural representation of organic molecule. There are various methods to represent the organic molecules. So in that, the first one is structural formula that we have seen last time. Next, then we have seen the electron dot structure of, or the Lewis structure, in which the atoms are shown and the valence electrons of the atoms are shown in the structure. Then we have seen the condensed formula, how to reduce the size of the molecule in case of condensed formula. Next one. This is the examples of condensed formula. Next, please. Then we have seen the bond line formula or the zigzag formula. Next, please. So these are the examples of bond line formula where the long length of the molecules are reduced in the form of bonds. Okay, next. Then we have seen how to convert the dash formula into condensed formula, then in a bond line formula or the zigzag formula. Next one. Then we have solved few examples. Next. Then we have seen the how the molecules are represented in three-dimensional structure. So various methods are there to represent the three-dimensional structure. In that we have seen the wedge formula first. Next one. So in wedge formula, if you have remember, the dash lines, they are the bonds going below the paper, and the shading lines, they are the bonds projecting above the paper, and the bonds which are single, they are on the paper. The next one is the Fischer projection or cross formula we have seen. Next, please. So this is the Fischer projection formula. In Fischer projection formula, the wedge formula can be getting converted to Fischer projection formula. It is the vertical line and horizontal lines, they show the carbon. Okay, next one. Then we have seen the Newman projection formula. Next, please. In Newman projection, you can see the front carbon, it is denoted by the dot, and the back carbon or the rare carbon, it is denoted by the circle, and the hydrogens, they are shown as radiating from the center of the circle, and the hydrogens are radiating from the circumference of the circle for the back carbon. So you have seen all these diagrams last time. Now today I'm going to start the next one. Next one, please. That is Shawhar's or Andreon or perspective formula. So what is this? Shawhar's or Andreon. This is in this carbon-carbon single bond is represented by a long slanting line. Lower end of the line is first carbon, upper end of the line is rare carbon. Other three bonds are shown to radiate from each carbon. Now, what is the meaning of all these sentences? We will see we will understand with the help of next example. Now, you can see the Newman projection formula, this one, and then Shawhar's formula, this one. In Shawhar's formula, one slanting line is there. You can see slanting line. ऐसे so lower end of the line is front carbon. ये lower end है, so this is representing a front carbon, and the upper end of the line, it is representing the back carbon or rare carbon, and this one here, hydrogens are radiating from the carbon atom. Hydrogens are radiating from the carbon atom, and in Shawhar's formula, one more example is there here of this one. So carbon, front carbon is denoted by the red ball, and the back carbon is denoted by the green ball, and all the CH3 hydrogen, they are radiating from the carbon atom. So Shawhar's formula, it is very easy to understand. One slanting line is there, lower end is representing front carbon, and upper end is representing the backward carbon. Okay, so this is about the Shawhar's formula. Now we will move to next slide. Now here, the molecular models are, some information about the molecular models are given. So molecular models are used for an easier visualization of three-dimensional shape of organic molecules. Three types of molecular models are common. First one is framework model. It emphasizes the skeleton pattern of bond, ignoring the size of the atom. Now next one is the ball and stick model. In this model, a ball represents an atom and stick a bond. Now next one is space filling model. It emphasizes on the relative size of each atom. Bonds are not shown. It conveys volume occupying by each atom in the molecule. Now let's understand with the help of the figure. You can see the framework model. In this, the bonds, only the bonds or framework of the molecule is shown. Atoms are not shown. Okay, so you can come to know the how the molecule look. It's how the structure of the molecule will look. It we can see in framework model. Now next one, ball and stick model. In this, the ball represents the atom and the stick represents the bonds. Okay, so in this you can see both bonds and atoms also. Now next one is space filling model. Here bonds are not shown, but the size of the atom, it is exactly shown in what proportion the size of the atoms are there, and it actually gives the three-dimensional structure of the molecule, in which the volume is very important. So how much amount of the volume will be there, we can see in that model. Now next one is classification. Now classification of organic molecule, it is very important because there are so many organic compounds and it is very difficult to study them. So that's why classification is the method in which it is simplified and then it is easy to understand. So there are two methods of classifications of organic compound. Organic compounds are classified on the basis of structure and on the basis of functional group. So first one is on the basis of structure. So organic compounds, they are classified into acyclic, aliphatic, or open chain. And next one is cyclic or closed chain. So you must be familiar with this words acyclic. Acyclic means which is not in the form of cycle, and aliphatic or open chain. Open chain means it is not closed chain. Okay. So examples are given propane. You can see it is open chain compound or it is not a cyclic compound. Next example is isobutane. Again, it is a branched alkane, but it is not a cyclic compound. So these two are the examples of acyclic or aliphatic compounds. And alkene and alkynes are also considered in acyclic compounds. Now here mainly we have to study the cyclic compounds, because in previous standard you have learned the acyclic compound or aliphatic compounds. So cyclic means closed chain. So carbons are arranged in such a way that they form a cycle or a closed chain. So in this, again the classification is done on the various type of structure available. So next one is, it is divided into homocyclic or carbocyclic and heterocyclic. So first we will see what is homocyclic. So homocyclic, the word homo means similar. Okay. So similar atoms are there in the cycle, and that atom is nothing but carbon. So when all the atoms in the cycle are carbon, they are known as homocyclic or carbocyclic. You can see the name carbocyclic. So carbo means what? Carbon. When all the atoms in the rings are carbon, then it is a carbocyclic or homocyclic. Then it comes heterocyclic. In heterocyclic, what happens? In the ring, carbon is there, but along with the carbon, other element can be there. So for example, you can see the pyrrole. It contains nitrogen in the ring. So there can be nitrogen, there can be oxygen, there can be sulfur in the ring. So these are known as heteroatoms, and the compound which contain them, they are known as heterocyclic. They are cyclic compound and they contain heteroatoms, so they are heterocyclic. Now we will come to homocyclic. Homocyclic is again divided into alicyclic and aromatic. Now what is this alicyclic? Now ali word come from the aliphatic compound. Okay. So it has the quality of aliphatic compounds also, and it has the quality of cyclic compound also. So here the ring is there with a single bond or with a double bond, in which all the atoms are carbon. So when the reaction takes place, it actually behaves as aliphatic compounds when the ring get broken. Okay, so the example of alicyclic compound is cyclohexene. And if we can remove that double bond, then it will be cyclohexane. So cyclohexane and cyclohexene both are examples of alicyclic compounds. Now the next one is aromatic. Now aromatic compounds, they have special quality. So aromatic compounds, they have aroma in that. Aroma means what? Smell. Particular smell is there in aromatic compounds. That's why the name is given aromatic. And one more quality is there. It contains benzene ring. But there are compounds which never contains benzene ring. Still they are aromatic. So the further classification is like this: benzenoid aromatic, benzenoid aromatic, and non-benzenoid aromatic. So you must be familiar with the compound benzene. So the compound which contains benzene and it is aromatic, then it is known as benzenoid aromatic. मतलब उसमें benzene ring भी है, उसमें aroma भी है. So that is known as benzenoid aromatic. So example is phenol. So phenol में you can see the benzene ring है phenol में, and aroma is also there. So it is example of benzenoid aromatic. Now non-benzenoid aromatic. So you can see the 7-membered ring, tropone, 7-membered ring, it never contains benzene ring. Benzene ring कितने membered होता है? 6 membered होता है. Sorry. So it is 7-membered ring, but it has got aroma. That's why it is non-benzenoid aromatic compound. Now we will come to here heterocyclic. The classification is like this. Heterocyclic aromatic and heterocyclic non-aromatic compound. So heterocyclic aromatic means what? Here hetero atom is there and it has got some aroma. So that's why it is heterocyclic aromatic. Example is thiophene. And heterocyclic non-aromatic, sorry, heterocyclic non-aromatic, the example is pyron. Next slide, please. Now, just I have told you that classification is based on structure and functional group. So functional group is the next type on which the classification is based. So first we should know what is functional group. So see this, um, consider the following reaction. Now what is the reaction? Uh, Alcohol is taken and sodium is reacting with the alcohol. So compare the structure of the substrate propanol with that of the product sodium peroxide. Which part of the substrate, the carbon skeleton, of the OH group has undergone a change during the reaction. So which part of this has undergone the reaction? OH. OH is the part which has undergone the reaction. So here hydrogen is replaced by sodium. So OH is nothing but a functional group. So functional group is the part of the molecule which undergoes the change as a result of a reaction. So this is known as functional group. The compound which has same functional group constitute a family of that functional group. So what is the meaning of that? Suppose there are many compounds which has got same functional group. So it makes the family of that functional group. Next slide, please. Now, one more term is there, homologous series. Homologous series. Now, what is this homologous series? When the compounds having same functional group and same molecular formula, they are kept one below the other, then we can observe some properties. So those properties shown by the group of the elements, they are nothing but homologous series. So the word homo means similar and logos means relation. So the similar relations seen in the compounds having same functional group, they are known as homologous series. So here one example is taken of aldehyde. So you can see first one, formaldehyde. Now formaldehyde, it contains one carbon atom, N is equal to 1. And the molecular formula is CnH2nO. So in same molecular formula, it is written Cn means C is 1, then hydrogen will be double of that, 2n, so hydrogen will be double of that, so it is 2n. O. And the condensed structural formula is like this: HC double bond H. Now next one is acetaldehyde. So acetaldehyde, it contains 2 carbon atoms, and because it contains 2 carbon atoms, so hydrogen should be 4. So C2H4O, and it is represented by CS3 C double bond O H. So like this, all other aldehydes are represented. Propionaldehyde, it contains 3 carbon atom. Butyraldehyde, it contains 4 carbon atom. Valeraldehyde, it contains 5 carbon atom. And their condensed formula is given. Their molecular formula is given, and their condensed formula is given. Now, when we observe the molecular formula of first one and the second one, formaldehyde and acetaldehyde. Now, what is the difference between the molecular formula of formaldehyde and acetaldehyde? You can see acetaldehyde, it has 1 carbon more. So the difference is 1 carbon is there and difference of 2 hydrogen is there, because acetaldehyde contains 4 hydrogen. So we can see that difference of CH2 is there. Difference of CH2 is there between 2 consecutive as aldehydes. When we compare the acetaldehyde and propionaldehyde, again the difference is what? 1 carbon and 2 hydrogen. So difference is again CH2. When we see the difference between propionaldehyde and butyraldehyde, again the difference is 1 carbon and 2 hydrogen. So we can say that the members of homologous series, they differ by the CH2 unit, that is methylene. CH2 is known as methylene. So this is the characteristics of members of homologous series. They differ by CH2 group. Next slide, please. Now, what is homologous series? A series of compound of the same family in which each member has the same type of carbon skeleton and functional group and differ from the next member by a constant difference of 1 methylene group, it's and in its molecular and structural formula. So you have seen the example of aldehyde. It has got same carbon skeleton and it has got same functional group. All the members, they have got same functional group, that is aldehyde, and then differ by CH2 group. Now, what is the meaning of homolog? An individual member of homologous series, they are known as homolog. So homologous series, we can understand like this. Suppose one family is there, so their surname will be same, but the members of the family, they have got different names. So यहाँ पे भी जैसे homologous series है, उस and one functional group is there. So functional group is nothing but a we can say a surname of the family, and all the members which are there in aldehyde, they are known as the homolog. So individual member of the homologous series, they are known as homologs. Now members of homologous series, they show same general formula. Same general formula. In case of aldehyde, we have seen it is CnH2nO. So all the members of the homologous series, they have got same general formula, that is CnH2nO. Then they have same functional group. So aldehyde का functional group क्या होता है? CHO. So all the members, they have got CHO as the functional group. Now same chemical properties. Now same chemical properties means what? Because they have got same functional group, so reaction will always take place on the functional group. So their chemical properties are same. So chemical properties is nothing but a reaction. So because functional group is same, that's why the reaction will also be the same. Now next one is gradual change in the physical properties. Now why gradual change is there in physical properties? So first of all, which are the physical properties? So physical properties are molecular mass, boiling point, density, melting point. So all these properties, they go on changing. Why? Because the molecular weight of the homologous series or homologs, they are go on changing. Next slide. Huh. Alkane constitute a homologous series of straight chain saturated hydrocarbon. Write down the structural formula of the first five homologs of this series. Write their molecular formula and deduce the general formula of such homologous series. Now, what is given here? The first five homologs generated by adding CH2 group at a time. So, you have seen the members of the homologous series, they differ by CH2. So if we want the molecular formula of the next homolog, then we have to add CH2 in that. Okay. So here first one is CH4, that is methane. तो मीथेन में हम लोग क्या ऐड करेंगे? CH2. तो कितना हो जाएगा? कार्बन 2 हो जाएगा और हाइड्रोजन 6 हो जाएंगे. तो सेकेंड होमोलॉग विल बी CH3 CH3. Then we have added CH2 in second homolog. So carbon will be 3 and the hydrogen will be 8. So this is the third homolog. You can count the number of carbon and hydrogen: 3, 3, 6 and 2, 8. Then again we will add CH2 in that third homolog. So carbon will be 4 and the hydrogen will be 10. Then if we want a fifth homolog, again we have to add CH2. So CH2 adding, we are getting 5 carbon and 12 hydrogens. Okay. So like this, if you want to write the members of homologous series, you have to add CH2 group in that. Now, what they have asked? They have asked the molecular formula also. So molecular formula, it is very easy to write. You have to count the number of carbon and number of hydrogen and write in condensed form. So first one is CH4. Second one is what? 2 carbon, 6 hydrogen. So C2H6. Third one is C3H8. Fourth one is C4H10. And fifth one is C5H12. So like this, if any homologous series, the members of homologs are asked, you have to write like this. And the general formula is what? CnH2n plus 2. So the general formula is also can be deduced. Okay. In first example, CH4, 1 carbon is there and 4 hydrogens are there. That means 2n plus 2. So n is what? 1. So 2 into 1 means 2 plus 2 means 4. So this is the general formula we can deduce. Okay. So next slide, please. Now, these are the various functional groups which are present in organic compounds. So the functional groups, they are very important because functional group only they take part in reaction. If functional group won't be there, reaction won't happen. So functional group, they are very important parts of organic compounds. And all the organic compounds, they have got some functional group. And because on the basis of that, their classification is done. Though, so the the compounds which has got same functional group, they have kept in one group and the name is given to that particular group. So the first, you can see the serial number, name of the family or the functional group, then the structure of the functional group, and then last is the example. So first one is what? Halide. So halide is what? Halogen, you know, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So these are the halogens. So if halogens are attached to the organic compound, then they are known as halides. And you can see the example. And halogens, they are always represented by X. Okay, so you have to remember this because you are learning the basic concept. So X is what? It represents the halogen. Now example is CH3Br. So CH3 is the carbon uh, chain and Br is the halogen. So because Br is attached to it is a halide. So name is what? Methyl bromide. Example is methyl bromide. Now we will move to next functional group, that is cyanide. Cyanide को और क्या बोलते हैं? Nitrile. Okay, cyanide is another name for cyanide is nitrile. ये भी तुमको याद रखना है because sometime nitrile word is used, sometimes cyanide word is used. Okay, so the functional group is what? C triple bond N. C triple bond N. So this is the cyanide. So example is methyl cyanide. Methyl cyanide because methyl के साथ cyanide attach है, तो it is methyl cyanide. और acetonitrile भी बोलते हैं उसको, acetonitrile because nitrile word is for cyanide. Now next one is isocyanide. Now isocyanide is exactly ulta of cyanide. Cyanide में carbon is first, nitrogen is next. In isocyanide, nitrogen is first, then carbon comes. Okay, so N triple bond carbon, it is isocyanide. Example is methyl isocyanide. Isocyanide is attached to methyl group, so it is methyl isocyanide. Now next one is nitro compound. So nitro compound, you can see N nitrogen is attached to 4 bonds. 2 bonds with one oxygen, 1 bond is another oxygen, and it has got positive charge because it has used its lone pair of electron in bonding. So that's why it is a nitro compound. Example is nitromethane. Methane. So with CS3 group, nitro group is there. That's why it is a nitromethane. And because from methane, one hydrogen is replaced by nitro group, so it is a nitromethane. Now next one is alcohol. Alcohol, OH group is there. Then the example is methyl alcohol. So when OH group is attached to methyl, it is methyl alcohol. Next slide, please. So alcohol we have seen. Now next one is phenol. See, phenol and alcohol, they both got OH group in their molecule. But what is the basic difference between alcohol and phenol? In alcohol, the OH group is indirectly attached to carbon. But
मोबाईलच घेऊन बसून तीच पण
hello, phenol, in phenol, the OH group is directly attached to the benzene ring. But in case of alcohol, suppose if it is aromatic alcohol, then the OH group is indirectly attached to benzene ring. So the example is phenol. Okay, in phenol, the OH group is directly attached to the benzene ring. Benzene ring को हम ऐसे भी represent करते हैं C6H5. Okay, benzene ring में कितने कार्बन हाइड्रोजन होते हैं? It contains 6 hydrogen and 6 carbon. So one hydrogen is replaced by OH group. So that's why the molecular formula is C6H5OH for phenol. So you should know the basic difference between the alcohol and the phenol. Now next one is primary amine. Primary amine. So primary amine is what? When the one hydrogen from the ammonia, it is replaced by alkyl group, then we get a primary amine. तो अमोनिया का फॉर्मूला क्या होता है? NH3. NH3. So in NH3 one hydrogen is removed. तो क्या बचा? NH2. So NH2 is nothing but a primary amine. So example is what? CH3NH2. तो CH3 क्या होता है? मिथाइल होता है. And NH2 is the amine. So methyl amine. Now next one is the secondary amine. So secondary amine, in this the two hydrogens are removed from ammonia. तो अमोनिया से 2 हाइड्रोजन निकालेंगे तो कितना बचेगा?
अरे बाबा मी
NH.
तोंडात प्रॅक्टिस
Okay.
करून राहिलीये 2 ते 3 मिनिटं घर घेऊन जा घेऊन.
NH is the secondary amine. So CH3 NHCH3, it is dimethyl amine. Example of secondary amine is dimethyl amine. Now next one is tertiary amine. So in tertiary amine, all the hydrogens of ammonia, they are replaced by alkyl group. So what remains? Only the nitrogen. So nitrogen with 3 bonds, it represents a tertiary amine. The example of that is trimethylamine. So methyl क्या है? These are the alkyl groups. So 3 alkyl groups are replacing the hydrogen. So example is trimethylamine. Now next one is ether. Ether, the functional group is C, bonded to oxygen, carbon bonded to oxygen, and then that oxygen bonded to another carbon. So COC, this is the functional group for ether, and all the bonds, there can be any alkyl groups attached. So see the example, CS3O, CS3. So this is the example, that is dimethyl ether. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now next one is aldehyde. So example of aldehyde, just now we have seen CHO, C double bond O and H. This is the functional group for aldehyde. And the example is what? Acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde. So when CH3CHO is there, the name is acetaldehyde. If the instead of alkyl group, if hydrogen will be there, that will be a formaldehyde. So ये तुमको याद रखना होता है. What is acetaldehyde? What is formaldehyde? Now next one is ketone. So ketone and aldehyde, they are actually brothers. They have got same C double bond O in their molecule. But only difference is what? Here in ketone, the 2 bonds of carbon, they are satisfied by alkyl groups. Means both are the alkyl groups. Aldehyde में क्या होता है? एक हाइड्रोजन होता है, और कीटोन में क्या होता है? दोनों अल्किल ग्रुप्स होते हैं. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे एग्जांपल देखो, CH3COCH3. तो ये CH3 क्या है? अल्किल ग्रुप है, and another CH3 is another alkyl group. So example is acetone. Okay, so you have seen the aldehyde and ketone. Now carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid, it has got COOH. So functional group is COOH, and the example is acetic acid, CH3COOH. Then it comes ester. ester. Now in ester, only difference is what? The carboxylic acid and ester are very similar. Only difference in carboxylic acid and ester is that in carboxylic acid, the hydrogen is replaced by alkyl group in case of ester. तो यहाँ पे COOH है और यहाँ पे क्या हो जाता है COOR हो जाता है. ठीक है. So the example is ethyl acetate. यहाँ पे देखो ethyl acetate CS3COO C2H5. Okay. Now next one is amide. Amide is CONH2. CONH2. Wherever this CONH2 will be there, that particular compound is known as amide. The example is acetamide. Acetamide CS3CONH2. Okay. Now it comes secondary amide. Secondary amide. So when NH2 is primary amine, you know that. So when one more hydrogen is replaced by alkyl group, then it comes secondary amide, CONH. So CONH जहाँ पे आएगा उसको हम कहते हैं secondary amide. जैसे secondary amine था वैसे ही secondary amide भी होता है. तो दोनों में क्या डिफरेंस है? यहाँ पे सिर्फ कार्बोनिल ग्रुप अटैच है NH को. ठीक है. तो CONH, it is secondary amide. The example is N-methyl acetamide. Then it comes tertiary amide. तो tertiary amide में CON is there. Okay. जैसे tertiary amine में N था single, तो यहाँ पे it is attached to CO group. So it is tertiary amide. Example is N-dimethyl acetamide. So remaining functional group we will see next time. So I would like to go through what we have seen today. So today we have seen the three-dimensional representation in case of Sohaar's formula, and then we have seen the homologous series. Then we have seen the classification based on structure of the organic compound. Then we have seen the classification of organic compounds on the basis of functional group. So next time we will see the further part of this topic. Thanks for listening. I will see you next time.
Hello. 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 Hello, sir.
हा बोला ना मॅडम.
हा सर, त्यांनी चालू केलं नाही वाटतं ना शेअरिंग स्क्रीन?
नाही अजून चालू केलेलं.
म्हणजे आपल्या लेक्चरकडे अजून त्यांनी सुरू नाही केलंय.
नाही केलेलं. ते आवाज देतील आपल्याला.
हा चालेल. माझा आवाज येतोय ना?
हा मॅडम येतोय येतोय.
शेअर स्क्रीनच्या ऑप्शनवर क्लिक करून नाही, पण ते आवाज देतात ना सुरू करा म्हणून. हॅलो.
हा त्यांचं लक्ष नसेल कदाचित 10 वाजलेत म्हणून.
हा पण नाही, ते सांगतात ना सुरू करा म्हणून, त्यावेळेस सुरू करायचे ना.
हो
हा चालेल. फक्त सर 40 मिनिटानंतर मला आठवणीने सांगा.
हो हो. हॅलो दिघे मॅडम,
हा सर.
कुठे गेले ते काय?
काय आवाज पण देत नाहीत ना?
आवाज पण देत नाही.
मला वाटलं माझ्याकडनंच प्रॉब्लेम आहे काय, पण तसं काही नाही ना, आपल्याकडनं व्यवस्थित आहे.
हा आपल्याकडून चालू आहे.
हॅलो.
हॅलो.
हा
हा दीपाली मॅम,
हा सर.
आपलं लेक्चर सुरू करा ना मॅम.
हा मग आम्ही सर तेच वाट बघत होतो, म्हटलं काही सांगितलं नाही लेक्चर सुरू करायचं अजून.
करा करा.
हो चालेल. हॅलो. हॅलो सर, आवाज येतोय?
हा येतोय मॅडम.
स्क्रीन शेअर
येतोय.
झाली? स्क्रीन शेअर झाली आहे?
हो हो झाली झाली झाली.
Okay. Hello. Good morning, dear students. I, Mrs. Deepali Vikas Dige, along with my co-host, Mr. Sachin Shingade sir, welcomes you all for this online education platform for science stream subject mathematics and statistics. We are very fortunate in this pandemic situation also that we are able to reach out 11 standard students of Maharashtra with the help of this virtual classroom platform. I am very much grateful to Education Department, Government of Maharashtra, SCERT, its technical team for providing us with this online teaching platform to reach out the students. I am equally thankful to our parental institute, Deccan Education Society and Kirti College authorities for providing this opportunity to us. For 11 standard science students, this is third session of Mathematics Book 1, Chapter 2, Trigonometry Part 1. So let us start our session for trigonometry. See, already in the previous lectures, we have seen signs of trigonometric functions in different quadrants and few examples from first exercise. So let us continue with some more examples. Evaluate the following. First example, sine 30 degree plus cos 45 degree plus tan 180 degree. For that, we must know the trigonometric function values of all the angles that are sine 30 degree, that is 1/2, cos 45 degree 1 upon root 2, tan 180 degree 0. Using these values, we can find the value of the expression sine 30 degree plus cos 45 degree plus tan 180 degree, that is 1/2 plus 1 upon root 2 plus 0. By solving this, we will get 1 plus root 2 upon 2. Second example, sine 30 degree into cos 45 degree into tan 360 degree. Again, we are taking the values of trigonometric functions. Sine 30 degree 1/2, cos 45 degree 1 upon root 2, and tan 360 degree 0. Therefore, sine 30 degree into cos 45 degree into tan 360 degree, that is the product of these three values, which is 0. Next example, if cos theta is 12 upon 13, where theta lies between 0 degree to pi by 2, then find the value of sin square theta minus cos square theta upon 2 sin theta cos theta. So here we will use our information of signs of trigonometric functions in different quadrant. Here theta lies in 0 to 90 degree, That means theta lies in the first quadrant, and in the first quadrant both cos and sine are positive. Here cos theta is given as 12 by 13. For finding out the value of sine theta, we will use the fundamental identity that you have learned in 10th standard also. That fundamental identity of trigonometry is sine square theta plus cos square theta equal to 1. Using this identity, we can find the value of sine theta, because for the given expression, we required the value of cos theta and sine theta. Cos theta is already given 12 by 13. So let us find out the value of sine theta using the fundamental identity. Therefore, using this, sine square theta is 1 minus cos square theta. Now substitute the value of cos theta, which is 12 by 13. Therefore, we have 1 minus 12 by 13 square. Simplifying this, we will get 1 minus 144 upon 169. That is square of 12 and 13. And by solving this, we will get the value of sine square theta as 25 by 169. Here it is a sine square theta, but in denominator we required sine theta also. So we have to find the value of sine theta also. For that, we are taking a square root on both the sides. By taking the square root, here we have a sine theta, and since we are taking a square root, we have to consider both the possibilities, that is value may be plus or minus. So initially we are considering both the values plus minus 5 by 13. Now we have to decide which value we have to take as a value of sine theta, plus 5 by 13 or minus 5 by 13. That depends upon the quadrant. So now here we will use this information that theta lies in the first quadrant. Since theta lies in the first quadrant, and in the first quadrant both sine theta and cos theta are positive, therefore here sine theta is also positive. Therefore we are considering here only the positive value of sine theta. So sine theta is plus 5 by 13. Now we have both the values of sine theta and cos theta, so we can find easily the value of given expression. So sine square theta minus cos square theta upon 2 sine theta cos theta, which is equal to sine theta, that is 5 by 13 square, minus cos theta, that is 12 by 13 square, divided by 2 into sine theta 5 by 13 into cos theta 12 by 13. Taking squares for the numerator, and by doing the product of denominator, we have 25 by 169 minus 144 by 169, and in the denominator it is a 120 by 169. So again simplifying, finally we have a value minus 119 upon 120 as the value of given expression. Next example, find the other trigonometric functions if sec A is minus 25 by 7 and A lies in the second quadrant. That means here out of 6 trigonometric functions, only one is given, which is sec A. Using this, we have to find the remaining trigonometric function values. Sec A, which is 25 by 7, it is given sec A. Using that sec A, we can find cos A. So cos A is 1 upon sec A, which is equal to 1 upon minus 25 by 7. Therefore, value of cos A is minus 7 by 25. Now, again we are using the fundamental identity of trigonometry. Sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1. Here our angle is A. So, just we are replacing this angle theta by A. Therefore, sin square A, which is 1 minus cos square A, and we have a value of cos A. So, substitute that value of cos A, we get 1 minus, and value of cos A minus 7 by 25, its square, which is 1 minus 49 by 625. So simplifying this, we will get value of sin square A as 576 upon 625. But we only want trigonometric functions, we don't want the square. So again here we have to take square root on both the sides. So by taking the square root, we are getting plus or minus 24 by 25. Again we have to decide which value we have to take for sin A, plus 24 by 25 or minus 24 by 25. That depends upon the information that A lies in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, sign is positive. Therefore, value of sin A 24 by 25. Now we have value of sin A. Therefore, cosec A, that is 1 upon sin A, means it is 25 by 24. Now we have to find only two values, tan and cot. Tan A, that is sin A upon cos A, sin A 24 by 25, and cos A minus 7 by 25. So simplifying this, value of tan A is minus 24 by 7, and cot A, it is either cos A upon sin A, or we can use 1 upon tan A. So cot A is minus 7 by 24. So the required values of all the trigonometric functions are sin A 24 by 25, cosec A 25 by 24, cos A minus 7 by 25. Therefore, sec A minus 25 by 7, tan A minus 24 by 7, and cot A minus 7 by 24. Now the next point is fundamental identities of trigonometry. A trigonometric identity represents a relationship that is always for all admissible values or in the domain. They are basic tools of trigonometry which are being used in solving trigonometric equations. So a trigonometric identity represents a relationship that is always for all admissible values in the domain. So which are the identities? Three fundamental identities are there. For any angle of measure theta, first identity is sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1. Second identity, 1 plus tan square theta is equal to sec square theta. And the third identity, 1 plus cot square theta is equal to cosec square theta. These three are called as the fundamental identities of trigonometry. These are very important in solving the trigonometric equations. Now we will see domain and range of all the 6 trigonometric functions. We now study sine theta, cos theta, tan theta as a functions of a real variable. That variable may be denoted by x or theta, that is the angle, and that angle is measured in radians. We have defined sine theta and cos theta, where theta is a real number. Therefore, domain for sine theta and cos theta is real number. Now we have to find a range also. So we will go one by one for all the 6 trigonometric functions. So let us start with sin x. So domain and range of sin x. So just I have told you that domain of sine function is any real number. So that x, we can take any real number values. Then value of sin x, you can see in the graph. Maybe for any value of x, value of sin x always lies between +1 and -1. See any value, that is 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, 270 degree, may be on the positive side of x-axis or maybe negative side. So domain for sine function is real number, and value of sin x always lies between -1 and +1. So that is the range for sin x. Therefore, domain of sine function is a set of real numbers, and range of sine function is -1 to +1. Because you can see in the graph, sin x always lies between -1 and +1. It never exceeds this limit. Now see one more point for this sin x. If we see carefully, see from 0 to 2 pi, you will get one pattern of graph. The same pattern of graph we will get if we are going on the negative side also. See 0 to -2 pi. And if we continue either on positive side of x-axis or on negative side of x-axis, we will observe the same pattern again and again. That means whatever be the pattern for 0 to 2 pi, same pattern we will get for 2 pi to 4 pi. So that is called as the period for sin x, and the smallest value of period, which is here 2 pi. That period of trigonometric function again we will see after some time, students, but at this moment just remember we are getting one particular pattern for 0 to 2 pi, and the same pattern is repeating after 2 pi also. So next is cosec x. Cosec x means 1 upon sin x. So here we have taken graph of both sin x and cosec x in the same diagram, just to understand what is the domain and range of cosec x. So for sin x, we have already seen domain is real numbers and range is -1 to +1. Cosec x means 1 upon sin x. If we see sin 0 is 0, then cosec 0 means 1 upon sin 0, but sin 0 is 0. So cosec 0 is undefined. Similarly, if we see the value of sine 180 degree. Sine 180 degree is again 0. Therefore, cosec 180 degree, that is 1 upon sine 180 degree. So it is again 1 upon 0, undefined form. Therefore, cosec 180 degree does not exist. Same thing will happen if we go for 2 pi, 3 pi, like this on positive x-axis, or same thing will happen for minus 180 degree, that is minus pi, minus 2 pi, that is for negative values also. From this, what we can say, cosec x does not exist if x is equal to n pi, where n belongs to set of integers. That means minus pi, minus 2 pi, minus 3 pi on negative side of x-axis, or pi, 2 pi, 3 pi on positive side of x-axis. Cosec x does not exist. Therefore, we can say that domain of cosec x is set of all real numbers, that is R, except x is equal to n pi, because for that sign of that value is 0. So domain of cosec x is set of real numbers except x is equal to n pi. Now what is the range of cosec x? For that we are going to the range of sine function. Sine function has a range from -1 to +1. That means sine x lies between -1 to +1. But cosec x means 1 upon sine x. Therefore, cosec x has a values either greater than or equal to 1, or cosec x has a values less than or equal to -1. By considering these possibilities, we will get graph of cosec x. So you can see this blue color line graph for cosec x. So here we can easily differentiate the graph of sin x and graph of cosec x. Okay, that means a range of cosec function is, it is set of all values y belongs to real numbers such that modulus of y greater than or equal to 1, which is same as r, that is set of real numbers, minus open bracket -1 to +1, because this -1 and +1 values, these are possible for sine, they are included in the sine function. So range of cosecant function is r minus open bracket -1 to +1. Okay, so this is the domain for cosec x and range for cosec x. Now see again, like the sine function, one more important point for cosec x. If we go for 0 to 2 pi, one pattern we are getting, one graph which is on positive side of x-axis of cos, that is cosec x, and another graph of cosec x that is on below the x-axis. The same pattern we are getting if we go to the negative side of x-axis. Two graphs we can see, one below the x-axis and one above the x-axis. If we go to continue for the values of x either on positive side or on negative side of x-axis, same pattern we will observe again for cosec x. So here is again one important point related to the period of cosec x, which is again here 2 pi. That means 0 to 2 pi we have one pattern, and again for 2 pi to 4 pi you will observe the same pattern. Now the next is cos x. Now go for the range and domain of cos x. Just we have seen that we have defined cos x also for x a real number. So domain for cos x is also a set of real numbers. Now see, for cos x also, take any value of x. Cos x values again lies between only +1 and -1. See the graph. This graph never exceeds the value after +1 or never exceeds below the -1. That means for any value of x, cos x always lies between -1 and +1, and x is from set of real numbers, so it can take any value. So domain of cosine function is set of real numbers, and range of cosine function is again -1 to +1. That means for sine function and cosine function, for both one, domain is real number set R and range is -1 to +1. And the third point, that is related to the period of cosine function. Now see, from 0 degree to 2 pi, we have this black color curve, one pattern of curve. And again, if we go for 2 pi to 4 pi, same pattern curve we are getting. If we go on a negative side of x-axis, the same pattern curve we are getting from 0 to -2 pi, or -2 pi to -4 pi. That means after a certain period, the same graph is appearing again and again. So the smallest value for which this graph occurs, that is a 2 pi, which is the period of cos x. Next is domain and range for secant function. Now see the graph of cos, which is given by black line. Sec theta does not exist if theta is equal to 2n plus 1 times pi by 2. Sec theta means 1 upon cos theta, and cos 90 we know it is 0. Similarly, cos 3 pi by 2, cos 5 pi by 2, for that value is 0. And sec theta means 1 upon cos theta. But if cos theta is 0, for theta equal to pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, then sec theta does not exist. It is the same case for negative values also. Therefore, sec theta does not exist if theta is equal to 2n plus 1 times pi by 2, that is odd multiples of 90 degree, pi by 2. Therefore, domain of sec theta is set of real numbers except theta is equal to 2n plus 1 times pi by 2, because for these values sec theta does not exist. Okay, this is for the domain. Now see the range. For the range of sec, we will start with range of cosine function. Range of cosine function is -1 to +1. That means cos x lies between -1 to +1. Since cos lies between -1 to +1 and sec theta means 1 upon cos theta, therefore sec theta has a values either greater than or equal to +1 or sec theta has a values less than or equal to -1. Therefore, range of secant function is set of all y belongs to R such that modulus of y greater than or equal to 1 means set of all real values R minus open bracket -1 to +1. Now go with the next function, that is tan theta. Now see the domain and range of tan theta. Now if we see theta tends to -90°, then tan theta tends to plus infinity, and for plus infinity it is minus infinity. So it goes to plus infinity to minus infinity. So domain of tangent function is set of all real numbers except theta is equal to 2n plus 1 times pi by 2. That is odd multiple of 90°. Why it is not, tangent is not possible for 2n plus 1 times pi by 2? Because tan theta means sin theta upon cos theta, and cos 90°, that is pi cos pi by 2 cos 3 pi by 2 has a values 0. So sin 0 upon cos 0 is not possible. Therefore, if it is an odd multiple of 90°, tangent function does not exist. So domain of tangent function is set of real numbers minus these odd multiples of 90°. Now, since cos theta and sin theta always lies between -1 and +1, and tan theta means y upon x, that is sin upon cos, so values of tan theta can be any real number. So range of tangent function is set of real numbers. And the last trigonometric function, that is cot x. Now see the domain and range for cot x. Cot x does not exist for 0, pi, 2 pi. Why? Because see, cot x means cos x upon sin x. Sin 0 is 0. Similarly, sin pi or sin of minus pi is again 0. So for cot x also we are getting denominator values 0 if it is 180°, 360°, or minus 180 or minus 360. Therefore cot x does not exist if x is equal to n pi, where n is from set of integers. Therefore, domain of cot x is set of all real numbers except x is equal to n pi. And now for range, again we are considering range of cos theta and sin theta. Both cos theta and sin theta lies between -1 and +1, and tan theta is y upon x. Values of tan theta can be any real number. Therefore, range of cot function is also set of real numbers, because cot theta means 1 upon tan theta. Therefore, range of cot function is also real numbers. Next point is periodicity of trigonometric function. Students, this part is deleted for this year from your syllabus, but we must know what is the periodicity of trigonometric function. Therefore, just we will look out this point in few minutes. What is the periodicity of trigonometric function? So a function is said to be periodic function if there exists a constant p such that f of x plus p is equal to f of x for all x in the domain. That means f of x is equal to f of x plus p, which is equal to f of x plus 2p. Or if we are going next for the negative values, it is f of x minus p or f of x minus 2p. After a certain period, we are getting the same values. So the smallest positive value of this p which satisfies this above relation is called the fundamental period or simply the period of f. See students, in the graph also I told you for sin x or cos x that after a certain period or after certain values we are getting the same pattern of graph which shows the periodicity of trigonometric function. See, in the graph of sine also we have seen 0 degree to 2 pi degree. Whatever be the graph of sine, the same graph we will observe for the next period. That is, it is sine of x plus 2 pi. The same graph we will observe for sine of x plus 4 pi. And the same is for sine of x minus 2 pi. Thus,
हॅलो
sine.
दिघे मॅडम,
हाँ सर.
40 मिनिटं झालेत हा.
हाँ, जस्ट एक 2 स्लाइड्स एवढे कंप्लीट करते.
ओके ओके.
So sin x is a periodic function with period 2 pi. So similarly, if we see the graph carefully, we will observe cos x, cosec x, sec x are periodic functions with period 2 pi. And tan x and cot x are the periodic functions with period pi. So the period for tan x and cot x are pi. So students, just see the graphs carefully for this periodicity of trigonometric functions. So students, we will stop here. In the next lecture, we will continue just by summarizing all the domain range of all the trigonometric functions and their period and with more examples. Okay. Hello sir.
Okay, thank you Dipali ma'am. So next lecture will be continue. So over to Madhavi ma'am, Sachin sir and Sadhna ma'am to start your lecture ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. This is Madhavi Kulkarni from RCF Junior College, Alibag, Raigad. Today, in bio lecture, we are going to study the coordinate classification. Last time, we have studied non-coordinate classification, and today we will study the coordinate classification. Let me share the screen. So, in the coordinate classification, first we are going to study the characteristic of chordate. The chordate animals, they show presence of cartilaginous notochord at least in the embryonic life or throughout the life. The second characteristic, they show presence of gill slits in the pharyngeal region. The third characteristic, presence of hollow dorsal nerve cord, and the heart is always present on the ventral side. Actually, in the non-chordate also, I have shown this diagram once again because it should be very clear what is the exact difference between a non-chordate and a chordate. In non-chordate, on the dorsal side, the pulsating dorsal blood vessel or the heart, it is present. While in the chordate, on the dorsal side, nerve cord and the notochord is present. On the ventral side, in case of non-chordate, the nerve cord is there while in case of chordate, the heart is present on the ventral side. Actually, this is a slide in which the difference is again very clear. The absence of notochord in case of non-chordate and presence of notochord at some stage of development. This is a peculiarity of a chordate. Then pharynx is not perforated by gill slit in case of non-chordate, while pharyngeal gill slits are present at some stage of life. The nerve cord, if present, it is a double. It is present on ventral side and it is solid in nature in non-chordates, while the nerve cord is a single. It is always present on dorsal side. It is hollow in nature. That is a peculiarity of chordate. Heart in non-chordate, it is always on the dorsal position, while in case of chordate, it is on ventral side. Now, this phylum Chordata, it is further divided into subphylum. The first subphylum is Urochordata, then second is a Cephalochordata, and the third is a Vertebrata. We are going to study each of the subphylum. From Urochordata, please remember Herdmania as an example. From Cephalochordata, Amphioxus as an example. And vertebrate classification we are going to study in detail. So first is a subphylum Urochordata. The urochordates, they are also called as tunicates. Why they are called as tunicate? Because body is covered with the test or tunic, that is a thick covering over their body is present, which is made up of protein tunicin, and that is why their common name is tunicates. The notochord is present in this animal, but it is always in the tail region, and that is why the name Uro means tail and chordata word is related with the notochord. And one more thing, that notochord is found only in the larval stage and it is lost during metamorphosis. So it is not present in the adult of this animal. Pharynx is with the many gill slit, that is a peculiar chordate character. Now I will show you some pictures of urochordate. This is animal called as Acidia. These Acidia as well as this Herdmania, they are marine animals. Now here it will look like just like a non-chordate, because it is true that in this animal the notochord is not present. Only in the larval stage the presence of notochord is there. So these two openings are there. It is a marine sedentary animal. So these two animals are from the phylum Urochordata. Next is a subphylum Cephalochordata. In cephalic means head, and presence of this notochord is generally in the head region, or sometimes it is throughout the life, present throughout the body also. These animals are commonly called as lanceolets. They are small sized animals. The notochord throughout the length of the body. Myotomes or the muscle blocks are present. Post-anal tail, which is one more peculiarity of chordate that is shown by this animal. Example, Amphioxus and Branchiostoma. Out of that, this is a picture of Amphioxus animal from the subphylum Cephalochordata. It is a minute animal, few millimeter in length. But on this body, these lines which are present or looking here, these lines indicate the paired muscle tomes, and that is a chordate-like character. One more character I want to show you here, the presence of post-anal tail. Anus will be present at this point, and presence of post-anal tail in Amphioxus is a peculiar chordate character. Now we'll study the subphylum Vertebrata. The subphylum Vertebrata, it is divided into two divisions. The first division is Agnathostomata and second division is a Gnathostomata. These Agnathostomata, which are primitive vertebrates, the jaws are not present in this animal. I will show you the diagram in which this point will be very clear. And this Agnathostomata, it always contains only one class, that is Cyclostomata. In Cyclostomata, cyclone, that word is related with the circular, and stoma means mouth. The examples are Petromyzon and Myxine. And the second division is a Gnathostomata, that is higher vertebrates having true jaws, and in which fish and all other vertebrates we will study. First, I want to show you the picture of from division Agnathostomata and class Cyclostomata. This is one animal. Name of this animal is Petromyzon. The other name is sea lamprey. It is an economically useful animal, a marine animal from which oil is extracted. One more interesting thing here, this is a detail of mouth, or the photograph of the mouth of this animal is seen. Here you will see no upper jaw or lower jaw. Jaws are totally absent. That is why it is Agnathostomata. And the name of the class is Cyclostomata because it is having a circular mouth. In this mouth, this diagram, or it is showing the presence of sharp teeth-like structure. And this animal, with the help of this circular mouth, it gets stuck to the higher fishes and it starts sucking the flesh and the blood of the other fishes in the seawater. So this sea lamprey or Petromyzon is an ectoparasite blood-sucking chordate animal. Next, character of superclass Pisces. Here in this subphylum Vertebrata is now divided into second division Gnathostomata. In Gnathostomata, true jaw having animals are present, and this Gnathostomata is divided into two superclasses. The first superclass is Pisces. Their peculiarity, they are having fins for the locomotion, while the second superclass is Tetrapoda. Tetra means four, poda means leg. They bear four limbs. First, we'll study about the superclass Pisces. The characteristic of class Pisces or the fishes, they're always aquatic animals. Poikilotherms, that is, they cannot maintain the body temperature constant. Their body temperature changes according with the surrounding water. Second, the locomotion is always with the help of fins. The fins, they are either paired fins or unpaired fins, caudal fins, dorsal fin, ventral fins. They are useful for locomotion. In addition to that, body muscles are always useful for locomotion. The body is covered externally with the scales. Respiration, you are knowing, all of you, it is by gills. Gills can absorb oxygen, dissolve in the water. Fishes are having two-chambered heart. A single auricle and a single ventricle is present, and that is why this heart is called as venous heart. Why venous heart? Because from the ventricle, the deoxygenated blood only is circulated throughout the body. That is why we say that all the fishes, they possess venous heart. Next point, they show the presence of lateral line. This lateral line is a sensory organ. They contain rheoreceptors, and these rheoreceptors are useful for detecting the water currents in the either freshwater or seawater where these fishes are living. Other peculiarities are also there, but these are most important peculiarities of the fishes. Now, the superclass Pisces is again subdivided into two classes. The first is a chondrichthysis and second is a osteichthysis. This chondrichthysis means the cartilaginous fish, and osteichthysis means bony fish. First, I will show you the picture of a cartilaginous fish and that of a bony fish. As a cartilaginous fish, this example here shown in this diagram is Scalodon, and as a bony fish, the example is Cutla. Scalodon is one type of shark. Yes, all the sharks, they are cartilaginous fishes. While कटला, ज्याला मराठीत रोहू म्हणतात, हा फ्रेश वॉटर फिश आहे. Along with freshwater fish, many marine fishes are also there, which are included in the bony fishes. We'll study in the next slide. Here, I have included these two classes in a comparative account, so it will become easier to remember this characteristic of a cartilaginous fish and that of a bony fish. Cartilaginous fish, the endoskeleton, entire endoskeleton, it may be a vertebral column, all the bones or the brain box, everything in case of sharks is made up of cartilaginous tissue. While in bony fish, the entire endoskeleton is made up of bones. On the surface of the body, I want to show you this picture again. In case of shark, we feel that the surface or the body cover is smooth and it is not having any scales, but it is not true. These animals also show the presence of scales, but they are microscopic in nature. While in case of bony fishes, the scales are very large. Let us see what is the name of that scales. In case of sharks, the scales are placoid scales, and in bony fishes, either they are cycloid or ctenoid, but they are always larger scales. The next point, their caudal fin is heterocercal. Again, in this picture, it will be very clear. This tail fin, that is a caudal fin, it is asymmetrical in case of chondrichthysis, while it is divided into two equal parts in case of bony fishes. The next point, the 5 to 7 pairs of gill slits without any covering. Here, only 4 pair of gill slits are present and they are always covered with the operculum. That also point I can show here in the diagram. In this Scoliodon, see here the gill slits are there and these gill slits are seen open from the outside, while in case of bony fishes, this cover is there and this cover, if you open the cover, inside it gills are present. So operculum or gill cover is always present in bony fishes. It is absent in cartilaginous fish. One more point I can tell you here, a snout. The mouth is present on the ventral side in case of cartilaginous fish. Extended part in front of mouth is present, while here the mouth is always present at the terminal end of the body. So that was about the cartilaginous fish and bony fish. Now, the other or in which we call as a gnathostomata. Gnathostomata, and in that superclass Tetrapoda. Please remember this name, Tetrapoda. Here in general classification, how to write a classification, for that I have written or included this slide. See, from the amphibians or reptile or any bird or mammal, if you want to classify, we can classify this animal writing in this manner. Phylum, chordate. They all are chordate animals. They show presence of notochord. They belong to subphylum Vertebrata because the notochord is changing into vertebral column. They belong to the division Gnathostomata. They possess the true jaws. They all are them. They belong to the superclass Tetrapoda. They are having 4 legs or limbs, and in which we are going to study 4 different classes: class Amphibia, class Reptilia, class Aves, and class Mammalia. Chordata, Vertebrata, Gnathostomata, Tetrapoda, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, and Mammal. Here are some pictures from the class Amphibia. Here, the first is a picture of a bullfrog. Second is a spotted salamander. Salamander and this newt, these two animals, they look like a lizard, but they are not lizard. Please remember, they are amphibians because they do not contain an exoskeleton. The body is very smooth. One more difference is there. Their forelimbs are having only 4 digits, while the hind limbs are having 5 digits. So these characters make them amphibian. The first is a frog and second is a toad. What is the difference in the frog and toad? The frogs, they are greenish blackish in color. They're always found only in the rainy season in the mud, while the toads, they are more terrestrial and their skin is not smooth, but it looks a warty or some warts are present. Even the skin is having some poisonous gland. So though the other characteristic or the body division, everything is same in the common frog and this toad. Okay. In my next slide, this is a one more amphibian salamander. Purposely, I have included this because it is not having any limb. Though it is looking like a snake, it is not a reptile, it is a amphibian. One more interesting amphibian, Hyla, which is called as a tree frog or it is a jumping frog. It is greenish in color, found on the vegetation. If you try to catch this animal, it jumps so high that it looks like a flying. So it is called as a flying frog. Now let us see the characteristic of amphibians. The amphibians, they are called as amphibians. They show the dual life and they live on the land as well as in the water. All amphibians are poikilotherms or cold-blooded animals. They cannot maintain their body temperature constant. In case of frog, generally the body is divisible only into head and trunk. There is no neck, there is no tail, only 2 body parts are there. The skin is always smooth without any exoskeleton, no scales, no hair present on the body of a frog. So, why this is a peculiar characteristic just like that of a annelid or the earthworm? Because it is also a respiratory organ. Through their skin, they are absorbing oxygen and they are giving out carbon dioxide. So it is a respiratory organ, so without any exoskeleton. Next point, the ventral heart is always with the 3 chambers, 2 auricle and single ventricle. These are only 3 chambers in case of amphibians. The respiration is with the help of skin and lungs, as I told. In addition to that, the third point is included here, the buccopharynx or the buccal cavity in case of frog also helps to absorb some of the oxygen. So skin and lungs are main respiratory organs. Skin, it does respiration throughout 24 hours and with the help of lungs, they do respiration only when they are on the land and buccopharynx also on the land or in the water, they can absorb oxygen. All the amphibians are oviparous in nature. They are egg laying and they show metamorphosis. Here one point I want to make a clear. Even the frog can jump or the survive on the land. For laying eggs, they have to visit water because the legs are laid in the water. The fertilization is external and it always hatches out in the larva. That larva can survive only in the water or it needs aquatic life. So metamorphosis is shown. A tadpole larva of a frog has many different characters than that of the adult. It is having external gills or the tail. These points are totally absent in the adult. So a metamorphosis, that is a changing the structure of the larva into adult, that point is there in the amphibians or in the frog. Next is a class reptilia. First, you see the variety of pictures of the reptiles. Turtle and tortoise. Actually, here the names are printed opposite. What is the difference? I will tell you. The tortoise is having well-developed claws or nails. And tortoise, it lives on the land. While the turtle, they live in the sea water and their legs are modified as a flap-like structure for swimming. Skink ज्याला मराठीत चोपई असं म्हणतात, कॉमनली दिसते बऱ्याच ठिकाणी. इट लुक्स लाईक अ lizard, but it is not lizard. Snakes, a peculiarity of snake, all of you are knowing, they do not have any limbs. They are limbless reptiles. Crocodiles and alligators, ज्याला आपण मगर आणि सुसर म्हणतो, they are aquatic reptiles. Even the turtle is an aquatic reptile. Next is a lizard. It is a garden lizard, ज्याला आपण सरडा म्हणतो. And the next is a wall lizard, gecko, ज्याला आपण पाल म्हणतो. So, and one more interesting, chameleon. It is a type of a lizard that can change the color matching to the surrounding. Variety of different color shades it can change. So all these are the reptile animals. We'll study the characters of reptiles now. They are the two true terrestrial animals. Why they are true terrestrial animals? Because the crocodile, it is living in the water, but a female crocodile will always come out of the water or the river on the river bank to lay eggs, because these eggs are shelled one, and within that shelled egg the development of the young one or the embryo takes place. So they hatch out by breaking the shell. So they are the true terrestrial, and most of them they found on the land. So they are the true terrestrial and crawling animals. The limbs are pentadactyl. The meaning of pentadactyl, 5 toes, both for the front legs or the forelegs and for the hind limbs. 5 toes are there, and all the toes are with the well developed claws. त्यांना नख्या असतात चांगल्या. एक नख्यावाला वेल डेव्हलप ॲनिमल तुम्ही लक्षात ठेवा, व्हॅरानस, ज्याला गोरपड म्हणतात. जी सिंहगड चढायला तानाजीनं वापरली, ते that Varanus is truly found in the rocky places, and it is having very well developed claws. They can cling to the rocks with the help of that claws. The snakes are limbless reptiles. All the reptiles are poikilotherms. They are cold-blooded animals. They change their body temperature with the surrounding, and that is why this crocodile, they come to the river bank for basking or taking sun bath, because when their body temperature goes very down, they cannot maintain their metabolism. Okay, that is the point. Poikilotherms. Their exoskeleton is made up of scales. The scales are dry in nature, or the exoskeleton is made up of scutes or plates. I want to show you in this diagram. कासवाच्या पाठीवरचं जे कठीण कवच आहे, ते कवच हे अशा हार्डर बोनी स्क्यूट्सने बनलेलं असतं, प्लेट्सने बनलेलं असतं. सो दॅट मेक्स द or that gives the animal protection. Their heart is 3.5 chambered. That is a peculiar character of reptiles, because 2 auricles and partly divided ventricle, it make the chambers 3.5. The exception is crocodile, in which complete 4-chambered heart is there. All these exceptions you have to remember, because they are important for, they are many times asked for answering one sentence. So oviparous, egg-laying animals, and they take the parental care till the young one hatches out, or the young ones are taken very good care by their parent. Next, as the class aves. So class aves, or the commonly called as a birds, number of birds are present in your surrounding. These are the few birds. This diagram is from the textbook. The first is a struthio, that is an ostrich. Ostrich is, instead of flying, when we call a bird, we know they are flying. But this ostrich is an exceptional bird because it is a running bird. Along with it also few other examples are there. Second is a passer, that is a common sparrow. Cetocoida, that is a common parrot. The next, Necrocyrtus, that is a vulture. It is feeding on the dead bodies of the cattle. And the last one is a pavo, which is our national bird, peacock. Please see these names, and few other names are also given in your textbook. All they are the generic names or biological names. All of we recognize this animal with their common names. We'll study the characteristic of aves. The forelimbs are modified into wings. Uh, Only hind limbs are there, and forelimbs, wings with which they show the flying mode of locomotion or the aerial mode of life. All of them, their body shape is a streamline. Now, number of adaptations are there for the flying purpose. The first is their body shape. The anterior part and the posterior part is a narrow one or tapering one, and the middle part is a boat-like or the swollen one. This particular shape is useful for giving the less resistance from the air during the flying. All of them, they are having exoskeleton of feathers. Of course, they are feather light in weight. Any largest size bird also, if you take, that is not weighing more than few kgs. It is a best adaptation for the flying purpose. Their body weight is a lighter, and that is possible because of the feathers that forms their exoskeleton. All of them, they are homeotherms. Now they are warm-blooded animals. Uh, they maintain their body temperature constant, whatever changes occur in the surrounding. Birds, they are having a little higher body temperature as compared to that of the mammals, 39 to 40 degree centigrade, that is a body temperature, and that is always kept constant. So they are homeotherms. Body divisible into head, neck, trunk, and tail. They are the body parts. They are having hollow bones. Yes, they are called as pneumatic bones, or the cavities are there in their bones. Again, it is adaptation for making their body weight lighter. Their jaws are modified into beak. As they have lost their forelimbs, they pick up the food material only with the help of beak. And it is very interesting to see the beaks of various birds are very different. It depends upon the food they take. So if it is a sparrow, a very small pincer like beak is there. In case of parrot, it is a very hard curved one to open the hard nuts or the shells of the fruit. In case of the vulture or the flesh eating, it is very sharp, useful for tearing the flesh. In case of this peacock or the pigeon, it is useful to pick up the food grains. So that is a peculiarity. The beak is modification of the jaws, and the shape of the beak is different in different animals. The heart is completely four-chambered. The RBCs are nucleated one, and the lungs, additional point is here, the lungs are having additional air sacs. The air sacs, it provide additional oxygen for the flight muscles, also that gives a buoyancy during the flight. So the presence of air sac is additional feature of a bird's most prominent sexual dimorphism. Here in this picture, there is a picture of a beautiful national bird, peacock. But if you are knowing the peacock, beautiful peacock or the peacock with the feathers, all they are males. And the females are uglier, and they, peahen, what we call, is not having that beautiful feathers. So this is a sexual dimorphism. Most of the males, they are having more attractive colors. At least in the breeding season, they develop colorful feathers. uh, some additional point, साधा कोंबडा आणि कोंबडी मधला फरक तुम्हाला लक्षात येईल की जो लाल कलरचा तुरा असतो तो कोंबड्यामध्ये असतो, मेल्स मध्ये असतो. So this point helps us to identify a male from female, and even not only the colors. I want to tell you one more thing. The sweet singing birds are also mostly males. So the males, the sweet voice is produced to attract the female for reproduction. During their breeding season, most of them they start singing. So this point is sexual dimorphism, and they lay the shelled egg in which the young ones develop, and they break the shell and they hatch out. I want to show you some special features of the birds. In birds, it is interesting to know in their excretory system, the urinary bladder is totally absent because they cannot store the urine, which will make them heavier. So, where they sit, they give out their urine, and even the feces are oftenly given out to make their body weight less. In case of a female, all the bird females, they are having only left ovary and left oviduct. The right ovary and the right oviduct is totally absent, again to reduce their body weight, because the females have to carry the egg or the shelled egg, so they are having this adaptation. One more thing, they show seasonal migration. They visit or they travel thousands of kilometers, and they visit a particular place every year, and that phenomena is called as migration. I want to show you this picture. This picture I have taken from the yesterday's Lok Satta Mumbai supplement, and this picture is taken from the Vashi Creek in New Mumbai, Vashi area, and this is a creek area, and this is the best season where thousands of flamingos have come. They are coming this place from the Siberia, very long distance they are traveling, and they are escaping their main place, their severe cold, and they are visiting this warmer area. They will live here for a few months, they will breed here, and along with their young ones hatch out, they will fly back to their original place. So this is a very interesting phenomena. Many of the birds, please remember, they not only visit the aquatic places, they also visit the our other local areas also. So this is a larger picture of a flamingo. ज्याला मराठीत रोहित किंवा अग्निपंख असं म्हणतात. हे रोहित हजारोच्या संख्येनं दरवर्षी आपल्याकडे येतात. Not only these flamingos, but other ducks are there, pelicans are there, seagulls are there, sandpiper or many other birds are there. Paradise flycatcher is there. They show this migration phenomena. Next is a class Mammalia. From Mammalia, I want to show these pictures first. The first is a Macropus. It is a marsupial animal, kangaroo. Camelus, camel. Ornithorhynchus, a platypus, which is having a bill, duck-billed platypus it is called as. And the last one is a monkey. Now we'll study the characteristic of Mammalia. The presence of mammary gland is a most important characteristic of the mammals. It produces a nutritious milk after the birth of a child, given to the young one for their development. Locomotion, variety of locomotory organs. Organs are the same, but variety of the modes of locomotion are seen. Some of them walk, flying mammal, bat, climbing or arboreal mammals are there, burrowing mammals like rat, rabbit, swimming or the aquatic mammals are there, dolphins are aquatic mammals, seal, walruses. Their exoskeleton is hair, made up of hair. When the hair is very thick, covering is there, it is called as a fur. They always show presence of nails, or some animals they show hooves. गाय किंवा बैलामध्ये जे खूर म्हणतात पायाला असतात, harder part, that parts are called as hooves. Many of them they show the presence of horns. The deers, antelopes, rhino, cows, buffalo, all of them, they show the presence of horns, which is a protective mechanism or the organ for these animals. On their skin, they always show the presence of sweat glands and sebaceous glands. The sweat glands, they secrete sweat. The function of sweat is to maintain the body temperature. And along with it, they also give out some waste products. Sebaceous glands that secrete a sebum, which is a waxy or oily substance that forms a protective covering on our skin. External pinna or the ears are present, and in many animals, right from the elephants or the cows, dogs, they're always moving their pinna. They can move their pinna towards the direction of the sound. In human being, the pinna is immovable. They show heterodont dentition, incisors, canines, molars, premolars. Variety of the teeth are there. That's why they are called as heterodont dentition. Nucleus is lost from the RBC, enucleated RBC. Heart completely four-chambered. Very well developed brain. The human being's most developed brain with corpus callosum, a band joining left and right hemispheres in the brain. Mostly placental animals. The placenta is a connection between a mother's body and a developing embryo in the womb. The mammals are viviparous in nature. The development of the young one takes place within the body of mother in the uterus or in the womb. And in that, the placenta forms a connection joining part between the mother and a developing embryo. So, these are the special features of mammals. Variety of different mammals are there. And in my last slide, I have included some interesting questions. Why fishes have venous heart? Because only two chambers are there. Amphibian skin is smooth and moist without any exoskeleton. Give reason, because amphibians, it is a respiratory organ. Then last one, some answer in one sentence. The reptiles with the four-chambered heart, exceptional reptile, the name crocodile. Egg-laying mammal, the platypus is an egg-laying mammal. Flying mammal, bat. Viviparous reptile, a viper. In viper, the young ones are born in the from the female's body, and it is not giving the eggs. So viviparous reptile, this name is given in your textbook. One marsupial animal or having the pouch. The kangaroo, they are having pouch for development of the immature young one which they give birth. So here we have studied today the chordate classification, and in the chordate classification I first told the difference between the chordate and non-chordate, and then the three subphylum Urochordata, Cephalochordata and Vertebrata. From urochordates, which are commonly called as tunicates, the notochord only in the larval stage. Cephalochordates like Amphioxus, where the notochord in the head region generally. And then we studied the classification of vertebrates, where Agnathostomata, or the animals without jaws or having rounded mouth. The example I have shown, the picture of Petromyzon. And then in vertebral classification, we have studied the two superclasses. First is a Pisces and second is a Tetrapoda. In fish, two types of fish we studied, the cartilaginous fish and a bony fish. Then characteristic of fishes also we studied, and then we studied class Amphibia, having animals having dual life. From every class, you remember one classic example to remember characteristic. From Amphibia, you remember a frog to learn the characteristic. From reptiles, you remember a lizard to remember the characteristic of the reptilia. Dry scales, the pentadactyl limbs, and the true terrestrial animals, oviparous animals. Birds, many of the characters of the birds you can write easily. The migration is a peculiar phenomena that I have shown. And lastly, about the mammals. In mammals also, the largest number of genus, many genus are there, or the true dominating terrestrial animals are the from class Mammalia. छोट्याशा उंदरापासून चिचुंद्रीपासून महाकाय हत्तीपर्यंत मॅमल्स मध्ये अनेक जीनस आहेत and all that forms a biodiversity of our earth. Okay, we'll stop here today. Thank you very much. I'm very much thankful to my co-host Sadhna Upadhyay madam from the Kirti College, Dadar, Mumbai. I'm thankful to SCERT technical team for giving this proper opportunity. I'm very much thankful for Deccan Education Society who have organized this, and Education Department of the Maharashtra State who gave this opportunity to go in front of all the students of Maharashtra. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
end, I end my lecture here. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sadhna madam.
Thank you, ma'am.